is. So we had Jeff Corwin, who is an animal guy, and so he just talked about animals, which doesn't necessarily relate to technology, but it's a topic that educators are into and that sort of thing. But then last year we decided that we were going to find a speaker that we wanted to pay for that was going to speak about technology and education. So we really talked to our committee members and asked them, who do you want to see? Who is big? Who's doing things? And they just come back with names and names and names. And we have a big planning meeting in the summer where we sit down and we are just running through all of these different names. We Google them. We watch their YouTube
Do you
videos.
Professional Speakers Bureau at all, or just referrals mainly?
Just referrals. We've kind of found that with the professional speaking ones, they're a company looking looking for us. And so in that aspect, we really like sponsorship. So if they're coming to us to bring somebody, we want them to sponsor. Whereas if we find somebody that doesn't have that kind of attachment, it works better for us. So, speakers can run, if we were to pay for Jeff Corwin to come and speak our conference, it's $40,000. Where when you can get him sponsored and you're not paying anything.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
Totally makes sense.
Well, let's talk a little bit about developing your theme, because you mentioned a Western theme. And then I want to digress into your planning that you do in the summer, because I think that's important to discuss as well. So talk to us first about your themes and how that runs through all of your marketing materials in your event.
Okay. We have to decide our theme at least a year in advance because we give a preview of our theme at our conference prior. So the last few years, it's been at the last minute when we're doing our final program. We're going, okay, what do we think would be good for next year? And usually Heidi, our executive director, our marketing director, and myself, we come up with about 5 or 6 that we like, and then we just weed them out. We really need to think of a tagline to go with them. Right now our tagline is Blazing the Trail of Technology. Goes with Western. We did magic a few years ago. It was capturing the magic of education and learning or something like that. So we just build off of that. Well, what we do is we have 3 that we say, okay, these are our 3 front runners. What are we going to do? And we give them to our graphic designer. Design 3 covers, and we'll see what we like the most. Once we get what she has, because she's the one that does all of our stuff the whole year, and where she's going, then I think it makes us say, okay, that's the look that we're going for.
Why do you think you need a theme?
Because our big thing is the fun. We have fun at our conference. Teachers are going through a lot. So right now we just bring in the fun aspect. When we had magic a couple years ago, there was a guy that grew out his beard for the whole entire year and dressed like a wizard for the whole conference, but he was having fun. So
that makes it successful, more successful.
Yes.
Well, in your marketing, then you use giveaways, promotional items.
Yes.
Can you describe some of those?
Yes. Well, we have been doing a couple things. We've really been working this year on creating a larger membership base. And in the last year, I'm proud to say that we have taken our membership from 2,000 people to 5,000 people in a year. Well, what we've come up with is this program that during Christmas we do 10 days of giving. And we've worked with our sponsors to provide us with materials to give to the winners. So we have anything from a $2,000 iPad system to a backpack for their laptop plus registration. So we're kind of always a giving organization. We try to establish that through the whole year. So in the beginning of the year, we're going to give a prize out just randomly, and not necessarily NCCE stuff. It's going to just be things that people want. We do the Christmas giveaway, then for our early bird registration, which is the beforehand, you get a lower rate, we give out $500 cash to somebody for doing that. At the conference, we give out at a certain time in the exhibit hall, we'll give away $100 to a person.
Just like put all the names in a barrel or something?
No, Heidi just walks up to somebody and hands them $100. It's fun.
Very informal.
Very fun. But then we have the other side of things where we have our cups. Oh, this cup doesn't have NCCE on it, but we have cups that have NCCE. We have all those kind of things that we sell at the conference. So we have a bookstore that we can sell.
Do.
We have shirts and things like that. We also have clothing that we give to our board and our committee through the whole conference. And then we have our membership gift that we give away at the conference, which last year it was cups. We had you know, lunch boxes. Heidi and I sit down about 2 or 3 months before the conference with somebody that is bringing us a bajillion books to look through, and we pick what's going to work in our price range, what we want to spend, and that's
so you set a budget for that ahead of time.
Yes, definitely. You have to have I mean, if you have a budget that's already been established and you're an organization that you're coming into that has already been successful and it's working, then you refer to what you have before. I mean, our budget has to get approved every year by the board. So we present it to them in March and say, this is our budget for the next year. Yay or nay.
So things happen way in advance for you to make that decision.
Yes, because
so that that moves into the planning part of the summer, where we were going to get back to that, talking about how you go about the logistics of planning.
Okay. Well, we have other things going on during the year, not just the conference. There's other trainings that we're doing. So in the midst of doing the conference, we're having other summer things going on. So you're kind of juggling a few different balls. During the summer, our big thing is keeping everything that's coming in as far as proposals, because everybody's submitting proposals, organized, and you're keeping track of it. And you're finding the people that you want to propose. You know, people are on summer vacation. They're not thinking about going to my website.
Right.
So we're having to make those contacts this summer. We go attend a conference, which is our conference, but it's the national one. So we're actually attendees at it. We don't do anything. We're just there. And Heidi brings a team of our committee and board members to go talk with sponsors on their floor. So we're making our sponsorship connections in June for our conference. And that's where about 90% of our sponsorship happens. And that our marketing director, Sally, handles all the sponsorship. So she's at that conference making contacts, getting meetings set up, talking about what they could do for our 2012 conference or our upcoming conference. And then the rest of the summer, it's follow up with them, phone calls, figuring out what they want, what they need, how it will work for our conference. And that's when Heidi and I and Sally, the three of us, work together to come up with plans that are going to work for the conference, whether we can do a breakfast for someone or different things like that. So our summer is primarily getting the content that we want from who we want it, figuring out who our featured speakers are going to be, and where we are with sponsorship, and get the ball going there.
And that's where you tape everything up on the walls and get organized. Because I've seen this, so you have all things organized in that way where you get a visual of it.
Yeah, we have a big giant grid because people are visual learners. So when people submit proposals, we have a big meeting where we bring in a few committee members and then our program director and myself and the executive director, and we just start reading all of the proposals. And we decide yes, no, maybe so. And the first big chunk that we look at is for our workshops that are the additional fee for people to register for. And it's a giant grid that goes on the wall, and what's listed are the time slots and the rooms. So we have sticky notes that I've already pre-printed on and all that information, and I have 18 sets of all the workshops going out because you have so many people looking at them. And we go and put them up on the grid for their times and their rooms that they're going to be in. And then I take that information and I put it into an Excel document. And what is called the grid, I call it the grid of death, but the grid is used.
That keeps you organized.
Yes. That is where all of the proposals are listed, and then the giant grid is housed. So when I need to go contact a speaker, I look up all their information through there. We have all their descriptions and everything that I would need to know about their workshop and them is in my grid.
Do you use any kind of software for registrations for your conference?
We have been, since NCCE started, they have used University of Oregon has a registration and conference planning
software package.
Not software. It's a team.
Oh.
So there's there's a whole team that we work with. His name is Paul. He runs all the exhibits. So he works with the convention center on getting the exhibit space, getting the everybody their little.
So you kind of contract that out.
Exactly. We contract that out, and then we work with them all year.
Okay.
So they do that and our registration side of things.
So you don't have to do everything yourself.
Not that part.
Yeah.
I have to tell them what to do.
Right.
but they do it for us.
So that's helpful to know, because that's one of the things that we're learning about our contracted services.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were going to give advice to students about what you like best, what you like least about your job, and what it takes just for some advice and incentive, what kind of advice would you give students?
The first thing I would give advice is that everything's not going to go your way. As an event planner, I think you kind of get stuck on that you have this idea of what's going to happen and you know it'll work because you've planned it out in your mind. But in events, you're dealing with multiple people and multiple personalities. So you have to be able to know how to read people, listen to them, and work as a team on deciding things, or else you're going to be in a boat all by yourself, not going very far. The best part about my job is the end result. When I see it all happen and I can go, that was awesome. That was fun. Look at this, those kind of things. I really, really like putting on things. I like working with hotels, and I like all these different places. I get to go to a city in Seattle and talk with the convention services and talk with the convention center, talk to the city people, talk to the hotel people all in one day. And you know what? You don't get to do that very often. That's fun. Let's see. Other advice I have is just stay on top of things. Know that if you are going to go to a software company, know about it. Know your registration, the way it works. Just stay above everything so you don't ever fall behind.
Stay organized.
Stay organized. I mean, I'm not saying I'm a wonderful organized person. I have piles of paper on my desk, but I know what's going on. And they joke and they call me the glue in the office because I have to keep everything together. And if my life and my mind was not organized and I didn't know where things were happening or when, it wouldn't work. So your mind has to be able to divide everything and
thank you.
Shuffle.
I appreciate it, and everybody else appreciates listening to you and the advice that you've given the class. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Good luck.